Alright, welcome everyone. Here's my geometry review video. In my class, I assigned this Unit 7 study guide with odd problems only, so I will only be going over the odd problems of this packet today. If you need help with any of those even questions, feel free to come on by and see me during my after-school hours. No problem at all, or just come by at lunch every day. That's cool. Ask me during class, whatever it is you need. So starting off, number one, formula for the sum of the interior angles of a polygon. No formula sheet on this quiz. You guys pretty much just got to memorize this guy. So it's going to be 180 degrees multiplied by the n minus 2. As a reminder, it's because of how many triangles you're able to put into one of these guys. I'm not doing problem 8, but I can just draw in a couple of triangles here and show you guys that for a 5-sided figure, there are 1, 2, 3 triangles. 5 minus 2, 3 triangles times 180 degrees. I'm going to give you the interior angle formula. So find the sum of the interior angles of a 35gon. So easy. 180 multiplied by 35 minus 2. 180 multiplied by that 33. What's that going to be? 5,400 plus 540. 5940. I should probably just double check that in the calculator before I go anywhere else. I mean, okay, that's right. Okay, why did I bother checking? I know the math. Okay, number 5. All right, if the sum of the interior angle of polygons is 3780, how many sides does it have? Well, here you just got to set up the equation and solve for it, So 180 multiplied by n minus 2 equals that 3780. Now, there are two ways to solve this. Many students choose to go ahead and distribute that 180. I think that's the hard way. I think it's easier instead to divide both sides by 180 first. If you divide by both sides by 180 first, I think it's a lot easier. Anyways, if you do that, you'll end up getting 21, I think. And if add 2 to both sides, you'll get 23. Easy enough as the answers here. So solving for x. This one I'm not, how is this? I'll solve it all the way. This is an annoying question. But basically I have to add up all of these guys, right? And figure out how much everything adds up to and do that. So let's count it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides to this thing. So using this formula over here, we got 180 multiplied by 8 minus 2. Multiply this guy out, and we're going to get 1080. So 1080 is the sum of all these guys. So we got 1080 equals, and we have to add up all of these things. So I'm going to do a little bit of cheating because I don't want to write all this down. I'm just going to add up all the x's myself. So I have 8 plus 10 is 18, plus 9 and 9 is another 18, so that's 36. Plus 7 more is 43, so I got 43x here. And then I have to add up all the regular old numbers. So then I got... all right, so we got 15 and 139 is 154 minus 11. You know what? I'm cheating for real. I'm just using a calculator. I'm too lazy, guys. I'm sorry. 139 minus 11 plus 121 minus 17 plus 6 plus 153 minus 14. 392. All right. So plus 392, subtract that guy up, 1080 minus that 392, and you get 688 is equivalent to 688 is equal to 43x. Divide both sides by 43, and you get a nice, neat little answer of 16. Not too bad. Continuing on, what is the sum of the exterior angle measures of any polygon? This is the easiest formula of all time. It's not even a real formula. 360. Done. After that, if the exterior angle of a polygon, regular polygon, as a reminder, regular polygon means that all angles are exactly the same. If the exterior angle of a regular polygon is 24 degrees, how many sides does it have? Well, we know that 360 divided by the number of sides must be equal to that angle right there. And to solve that equation is nice and simple. 360 divided by 24 equals n. You switch the positions of these two guys and just divide it up and you will get 15. Solving for x. Honestly, 13 here. I said I'm doing all the odd problems. I guess I'll just do it. You're adding up all of these guys and setting it equal to 360 degrees. So let's do it. So we have 9 and 11 is 20, and 4 more is 24, and 3 more is 30. So I got 30x plus, and now I got to add up all these guys, and now here's where the laziness of the calculator comes into play. 67 minus 5 plus 29 minus 15 plus 13 plus 61, and that's going to give you 150, and that has to add to 360 degrees because it is the exterior angles. Then you got 30x equals 210 degrees, and therefore x equals 7. Easy peasy. Page 1 is done. On to the next one. Odds only. We're going on number 15, angle M here. So we have a parallelogram here. It does say that these are parallelograms. We're in the topic of parallelograms. So normally you'd have to check to see if it's parallelogram, you know, see if these guys are parallel and these guys are parallel, whatever. However, for any parallelogram, the rule is these two sides are equal to each other. So you just set them equal to each other. So simple. So simple. And just go ahead and solve for x. So subtracting the 8x over, I'm going to get 4x. Adding the 39 over here, you're going to get 56. And therefore, x equals, oh boy, I can do this in my head, right? 14? Great. All right, measure of angle R. Another rule, opposite sides might add to one, might be equal to each other, but next door sides here, we call those consecutive sides, add up to 180. We call that supplementary. So 14x minus 4 plus 5x minus 6 equals 180. And therefore 19x minus 10 equals that 180. 19x equals 190. And x equals 10. And I just realized I messed up and lost points on 15. I can't believe I just did this. I tell you guys not to do this all the time. I just did it. Measure of angle N here. Boom. I got to find this angle right here. Jeez. So that angle right there, if x is 14, we got to figure out one of these two first. So measure of angle M, for instance, would be 12 multiplied by 14 minus 39. So that'd be 12 times 14 minus 39, and that's going to be 129. And like I just said here, they have to add up to 180. So 180 minus 129, that's going to be 51 degrees. Okay, that's the actual answer here. And here it says find the measure of angle R. Well, R is equal to T, so we just do 14 multiplied by 10 minus 6, and that's going to be 140 minus 6, which is 134. All right, well, don't mess up like that. I just did 16. I just said not to do the evens. Well, it's a good thing I did the evens anyways, because, yeah, it's I needed to catch my mistake. So I'm glad I did. I don't know what to tell you guys. This is the bad times. It's for real. All right, so number 17. In a parallelogram ABCD, if ED is 7x minus 13, so that's this guy right here is 7x minus 13, and BD is 16, so from here to here, that whole length there is this 16x minus 38. Find that length. Well, one of the rules is for a parallelogram is the diagonals bisect each other. So this length here is equal to this length here. So that means that 7x minus 13 is the same for here. Plus 7x minus 13 must be equal to 16x minus 38. And therefore 14x minus 26 equals 16x minus 38. We're going to get 12 equals 2x, and therefore 6 is equivalent to x. Don't stop there. It says define BD, so you got to plug that guy back in. And then we have our 16 multiplied by 6 minus 38, and that's going to give you 58 as your overall answer. Odds only. Skipping off to the next one. 19. ABCD is a rectangle. AB is 14. Okay, rectangles. All those sides are the same there. We have the, it's like a parallelogram, so these guys bisect each other, but we got right angles too. Doesn't mean that these are right angles in the middle though. All right, so AB is 14, so there's 14. BC is 9, okay. That means that this is 9 and this is 14, okay. AC is 22, so if AC is 22, that means both these guys are 11. And BCA is 58. BCA is 58, so here's 58 degree right there. Oh, and diagonals are congruent for a rectangle too, so these are 11 as well. All right, so DC. Let's see. DC, 14, we already filled that in. AD, we already filled that in, 9. BD, 11 and 11 is 22. EC, so simple, 11. ADC. ADC, well, that's a 90 degree angle. I mean, come on. BAC. Ooh, our first one that's actually hard. So, not really hard, but it's slightly more interesting. So it's a parallelogram, so this guy right here must be the same as this guy right here because those are called alternate interior angles. And these have to add up to 90. So 90 minus 58 has to be equal to 32 degrees. Our first one, we actually had some version of work to do. CDB, boom, boom, boom. We're trying to find that angle right there. So in a parallelogram, because these guys are the same length here, it means that these guys are the same value as well. So if this was 32, that's 32, that's 32. They're all dang 32. AEB here, boom, boom, boom. Ooh, this one we actually really do got to think. So we did already figure out that if this guy was 58, this guy was 32, and this guy was also 32. But triangles add up to 180, so we have to do 180 minus that 32 minus that 32, and that's going to give us our correct answer of, why am I doing this in a calculator, of 116 degrees. All right, moving on. Number 21. 21. I should probably just pronounce it correctly. All right, rectangle DEG is 4x minus 5. So DEG, 4x minus 5. All right, boom. And FGE is 6x minus 21. Find the measure of DGE. All right, so we got to find DGE, which is right here. So first of all, these two guys that we've written down here are alternate interior angles, so we can just set them equal to each other. Adding 21 over there gives you 16, subtracting 4x gives you 2x, and therefore 8 is equivalent to the x value. But it wants DGE, so DGE, you're going to have to figure out what this guy is and do 90 minus it, so we have to do 6 multiplied by 8 minus 21, so that's 48, minus 21 is 27, but we have to, again, we got to figure out what that is, so we have to do 90 minus that 27. To actually get the correct answer here, and that's going to be 63 degrees. Oh boy, I'm taking a drink really quick, guys. All right, this is my second video of the day. I already did one from Algebra 2. Just getting a little bit tired, but we're going to power through. We're going to make it. Got that good Dr. Pepper. Look at this advertisement right there. All right. Anyways, so we got 23 coming in right now. JKLM from the previous question. Oh, man. I'm getting robbed here. I have to do that problem. Oh, no, I don't. It's just a rhombus. I just have to use the same chart. This teacher, whoever made this, is lazy like I am. I don't want to draw the same thing twice. Beautiful work on that teacher's part. All right, MN equals 20. So this guy is a 20. By the way, we are in rhombuses now. As a reminder, rhombuses do create those nice little 90-degree angles in the middle. And rhombuses also have this guy here is the same as this guy here, is the same as this guy here, is the same as this guy here. Okay, cool. Anyways, so MN is 20. By the way, that means this is also 20. And JL is 26. So if that whole length is 26, this is 13, and this is 13. It says find JK. Well, I don't know if you can tell, but I already wrote in my little right angle there. I wrote my 13 and my 20, so JK must be part of my Pythagorean theorem. Just got to make a nice little Pythagorean theorem. We can plug it all into our calculator in one step and say JK equals the square root of 20 squared plus 13 squared, and get an approximate answer for ourselves here. So we're going to get square root 20 squared plus 13 squared, and that's going to be approximately 23.854. Easy peasy. Okay, 25. ABCD is a rhombus. AD is 4x plus 2. Okay. That means all of them are 4x plus 2, I guess. DC is 7x minus 13. And BD is 34. So BD is 34. That makes this a 17, and this is 17. It wants us to find this length right there. So we know that 4x plus 2 has to equal 7x minus 13 because it's a rhombus. And that's going to go ahead and say 15 equals 3x, and therefore x equals 5. And if x equals 5, then we know that both of these guys here are going to be equal to 22, because we're going to plug that 5 in there to get that 22. And then again, we are creating right angles here for a rhombus. That only happens on rhombus and square. It does not happen on those rectangles or those parallelograms, but it does happen on rhombus. So yeah, the x equals 5. and plugged it in, get 22. We can make a right triangle now. We're trying to look for this guy. So we could say 17 squared plus that side we're looking for, AE squared, equals 22 squared. And again, we're just going to plug it all into the calculator in one step. I'm not even going to write out that work this time. I'm just going to type it right into my calculator. The square roots of 22 squared minus 17 squared. Be careful with your work on this one. You're going to get 13.964. Nice. Continuing on to the next one. 27, using wxyz from the previous question of wy equals 32, find xy. So we're told it's a square. So wy is 32, so this whole length is 32. Which means this is 16, this is 16. Whole length is 32. I want you to find xy, I want you to find this length. So if this length is 32, there are two ways to do this question. My preferred method for this question, by the way, by a long shot, is just redrawing that right triangle from back in time. So I'm just going to remind you guys how to do that. Because it's a square, squares are cut by their diagonals nice and neat, so you get 45 degrees, just like this. And if these are 45, remember that these are the same thing. Because those guys are the same thing, it's that easy 45, 45, 90 triangle rule. So you just divide by 2 and tack on a square root 2. So it's just going to be 16 rad 2 as your final answer. Done. No more extra work to do. Nice and simple. However, if you can't remember that rule, you have a little bit of more work to do. You have to set up an equation. We know that both these sides must be the same, like call it x, for instance, if you wanted to. We could say x squared plus x squared has to equal 32 squared, and then 2x squared equals 32 squared, and then x squared equals 32 squared over 2, and therefore x equals the square root of 32 squared over 2. Regardless of what you do, let's do it both ways just to prove to ourselves that my way is easier. Great. Divided by 2 there, and you get 22.627. Or you could just write 16 times the square root of 2. Where's my square root of 2? And you get the same answer. So, you know, I think that this way is a lot easier, just remembering your right triangle rule, if you can remember from that previous chapter. Anyways, hopefully it's not too bad. Remember, use quadrilateral BCDE for questions 29 and 30, so we just need 29. If B is -2, -5, okay. -2, -5. And C is 4, -1. What must the slope of ED be in order for BCD to be a parallelogram? So, in order for it to be a parallelogram, we know that ED must have exactly the same slope for sure. We actually need more information than that for it to just be a parallelogram. We'd actually have to show that not only you'd also have to figure out what the distance between these two would have to be the same as well for it to be a parallelogram. But at the very least, we can find the slope, because the slopes would have to be the same. In fact, this slope would have to be the same as this slope. So we could just figure out what the slope of this is, and then tell us that's the slope of that one. Slope formula is given to you on the quiz, or the test, I mean. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We definitely need to memorize that. You know, change in y over change in x. That needs to be something you never forget. -1 minus -5, all divided by, and then 4 minus -2, and that's going to give you a nice little, -1 minus -5 is +4 divided by 6, and that reduces to 2/3, and that's going to be the answer to our question here. 31, trapezoids. That's what we did today in class. So remember, these two have not been marked as equal, so we can't assume they're isosceles. So in order to do that, we just have to remember that if it's touching the same leg, they have to add up to 180 degrees. So angle S, for instance, is going to be 180 minus 104. And that's going to give you that 76, and angle Q is going to be 180 minus 41. That's going to add up to our nice little 139. Easy peasy. We're on the last page, guys. We are finishing strong. Number 33, we have, again, this trapezoid. One of the rules we just talked about is if it is touching a leg, both sides touching a leg, that's not both sides touching a base. By the way, bases in a trapezoid is not what's on the ground. A base in a trapezoid is simply what is touching the parallel sides. The legs are the ones that are not parallel to each other. It wants the measure of angle h. Did I actually do the measure thing right on that one? Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. We want the measure angle h. We want this measure that we're looking for that. We know that these guys add up to 180. 8x minus 2 plus 5x plus 26 has to be equal to 180, and therefore 13x plus 24 is 180. 13x equals, subtract that 24 over, you got the 160, 156, and therefore x is equivalent to 12. And if x is equal to 12, we can plug it in. Up there we have 8 multiplied by 12 minus 2, so that's going to be, oh boy, 96 minus 2 is 94 is the measure of angle h. Easy enough. For problem number 35 down here, we have to remember one of our rules. Our rules are the base angles are the same, so 11x minus 8 is the same as this guy. Or you could simply remember that these guys add up to 180, or these guys add up to 180. It's actually the same exact dang problem as this one, basically. So 4x minus 7 plus 11x minus 8 equals 180 degrees, and therefore we got 15x minus 15 equals 180, and 15x equals 195, and therefore x is going to be equivalent to 13. And if x is equivalent to 13, we can just plug it in to find angle G, which I've already marked up as 11x minus 8. So 11 times 13 minus 8, and that's going to be, oh boy, 121, and 22 more is 1. I'm just cheating using a calculator. My brain is falling apart. 135 degrees. 37, last question of the day, that mid-segment formula, another thing we talked about today. The mid-segment formula, many students choose to memorize it as simply 2 multiplied by the mid-segment here is the outside guys added together. So we're going to do 2 multiplied by 63 is equivalent to 5x plus 7 plus 8x minus 11. 2 times 63, you get that 126. 5 and 8 is going to be 13x. 7 minus 11, negative 4. 130 equals 13x, and therefore x equals 10. Don't just stop there. It says find AB. 10 times 5 is 50, plus 7 is 57. And we are all done, guys. Hopefully this video was helpful. In the event that you guys want me to do those evens or any of the evens, just let me know. I can always help you out. Like I said, I'm available at lunch Mondays and Thursdays after school. Come on by, ask for help. Let's get some work done. Peace out. Have a good one.